The Sports Scouting Report with Lee Brecheen. Brought to you by MEDINE'S Collision Center in Baton Rouge. Take control, choose MEDINE'S. Grosse Savant Lodge, south of Lake Charles, the true sportsman's paradise. Treads and Care Company in Central, the tires you need, the service you want. Harvey Auto in Shreveport, Bossier City, the name you have trusted for years. And Gage in Baton Rouge. Get better connected with Gage. Here's your host, Lee Brecheen.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm Lee Brecheen, your host of Sports Scouting Report. I hope everybody's enjoying our North Louisiana interviews. Today, we've got a great coach. I think he's doing a phenomenal job at Haughton High School. The head football coach, Jason Brotherton. Jason, thanks for joining us today, man.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Love this, man. I always love the backgrounds. Got the good old Haughton hat in the background, and in your office, it's, and it's the busy office. You like mine. You got all the papers on your desk, and only you know where they are, huh, Coach?
I've got a system. Can't tell it, but I do have a system.
You have a system, man, and y'all been doing a phenomenal job last year. You were a very young team. We'll get to that. And now you got some guys with a little experience. I mean, you were replacing almost a whole team last year. You had a lot of four-year starters that you had lost the year before. And I've watched your team over the years. But I want to talk a little bit about you, Coach. You've been at the school a long time, and you've seen things over the years with Dak Prescott and Coach Ginn and, what he's doing now. He's at Calvary. But Haughton's had a lot of good history with football, huh, Coach? I mean, it's become a really good brand, and I want to say brand because, high schools, when you hear they're in the playoffs every year, like y'all are now, I mean, it's a good feeling to have to see that, and it helps, right? It helps with getting kids out.
Yeah, no doubt. We and I don't know, I know people talk about state championships and all that stuff, but we haven't been there since the 70s, but we've been in the playoffs, I think now 25 years in a row or 26 years in a row, something like that. So that's a big deal to us. A lot of the coaches on my staff, myself included, heck, I just finished in my 24th year here. So a lot of us have been a part of that. So that playoff streak's a big deal to us. Our fans expect to make the playoffs. I'm telling you, it's going to be like Armageddon and Doomsday around here the first year we don't make the playoffs, because that's people don't realize we make it every year, so they think it's just a given. Oh, we're going to be in the playoffs.
Right.
There's a lot of people that don't make the playoffs, especially every year. So that's a good streak that we have going that we're really proud of.
I mean, there's been some phenomenal players come out of the program. The late Joe Delaney was a heck of a player, and Myron Baker, who's still in the NFL today, is a linebacker, Louisiana Texter. Crystal Smith, WNBA basketball player. Currently Peyton Stovall at Arkansas, man, first baseman. Turned out a bunch of money, huh, Coach? You know any of that story? Turned out a lot of money.
He did, but he knew what he wanted to do, and I think that's going to work out for him just fine. He's going to get that money eventually.
Obviously, the most famous football player that everybody knows is Mr. Dak Prescott, the Dallas Cowboys. I'm speaking of championships. I'm pulling for him to go to a Super Bowl, even though I'm not a Cowboys fan. I'm a Saints fan, being South Louisiana, but I am pulling for the Cowboys because of Dak.
Well, if you can't pull for Dak Prescott, something's wrong with you. That guy
right.
He embodies everything that sports and athletics should be about. When his whole story and where he came from and what he had to do to get there, and just the things that he does and the high character. You can't find anyone in Haughton that doesn't love Dak Prescott, and that's kind of rare. Usually, you can find a teacher that doesn't like every kid has a teacher they have trouble with or whatever the case may be. But man, everybody loves Dak, and that's part of the reason for his success. You've seen it at every level he's been at.
I remember when he was a senior in high school, Coach. I was telling Coach Ginn this when he was coaching him as everybody was recruiting him as a linebacker lately. At the late process, I'm like, wait a minute, he's built like one, but he's a quarterback. And I remember watching him play I don't know if y'all were playing Parkway. I don't know who it was, but I was up in at Haughton, and I was like, this guy's different. You know, he was so smooth in high school, you know, for a 210-pound, 215-pound kid, 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah, that's the crazy thing, you know, and we were in 4A then. So you've got a quarterback that's 6'2", 210, 215. He's the biggest guy on the field, you know, and and rocket arm can make all the throws, but then, you know, he takes off running. He's as big as the linebackers are. And so it was a unique skill set for sure. I know one thing for us, it was a lot easier to score points when we had that guy back there.
He was the Tim Tebow of Haughton High School back then. We're going
right.
to take an early break, Coach. We're going to be back with more of Haughton High School head coach Jason Brotherton. Appreciate Jason joining us today. But later in the show, we're going to talk about his spring game, which is today, which will air actually on Monday, so it'll be over with. But Ruston High School. Not an easy one, and that's a good scrimmage. That's a good spring game there. But we'll be right back with more of Coach in just a minute.
Listen, whatever you're driving right now, Tommy Harvey wants it. Bring it in to Harvey Subaru, Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City, or John Harvey Toyota. They're paying big bucks for all trades right now. They'll cut you a check right there. Tell them Lee sent you.
Welcome back. I'm Lee Brecheen, your host, Sports Scouting Report. Tell your friends and family, and every week we do a North Louisiana guest, a coach or recruit. And today we've got Haughton High School and Coach Jason Brotherton, who's doing a phenomenal, been there 24 years. No one does 24 years anymore. That's incredible. Coach, I want to get back with you about before we go to your team later in the show and your spring game, which is today. Technically, this will air on Monday, but you wanted to mention you had a player's dad who got in a bad accident recently, and y'all having a fundraiser. Can you tell everybody about that? One of your players' dads.
We'll be a junior defensive end, Lawson Moock, and Lawson's dad, Clay, works for, I don't even know the name of the company, but he's a civilian contract worker. He works for an oil and gas company, and he was out at Barksdale Air Force Base about 3 weeks ago now, looking for a gas leak, and they didn't find the leak. But apparently when they started their ATV to move to another spot, there was a lot of gas in the area. It triggered a big gas explosion. I think right now his dad is on about his 8th surgery of skin grafts, and he's pretty much doing a surgery a day because they can't do all that at one time. And they said he'd be in the hospital at least through July. So the last day of school next Thursday, a week from today, we're going to have a powder puff football game. So we're going to let all the girls come out and play, and the guys are going to coach them and have food trucks and everything on site, and just try to raise some money for the Moock family, because I know that gets expensive and they're having to eat out a lot, and just, you know, their whole disrupted. So I think it'll be a great event for for them, but for our community also.
Prayers to their family from us too, Coach. My mom's dealing with stage 4 cancer, so we know it's all. There's a lot of people that are going to watch this show that we pray for everybody. But yeah, go support Haughton, and if you're a business in Shreveport and you're seeing this, or Bossier, or heck, Alexandria, or Baton Rouge, wherever, please help with this. I know they need the help. Coach, speaking of girls, you said that they accomplished something they hadn't done in a while, winning district. Tell them the sport at the school.
The boys baseball team.
Boys baseball team, yeah, and they're pretty good in baseball usually.
We usually are, but we've been in the playoffs a lot and had some success. Heck, last year they were in the quarterfinals, but this is the first year that our baseball team actually won our district since we went to 5A, and that was in 2011. So like we're always toward the top, but we never win it. So they finally won it this year. That was a big deal for us. They had a great season. It was kind of unexpected. I mean, they lost, lots and lots. I think they lost their top 2 pitchers off last year's team. They lost Peyton Stovall. So it was a little bit unexpected this year, but really came together as a team and had a great season.
Coach, talk about spring where we are now, and every coach I talk to every day has the same problem, outside of maybe a Acadiana and Zachary and some others that have 200 players in their program. But most 5As to 1As are sharing these kids for baseball and even track. And it changes your calendar date every year. And some guys just wait till these sports are done before they start spring practice, because half the team is running track or playing baseball, but yet you need these, you want to share them and you want them to play other sports, right, Coach?
Oh yeah, no doubt. I say all the time, we don't have enough great athletes at Haughton High School for every kid to play one sport. We need our good athletes doing as much as they can do. I think it's conducive to a successful school environment. We want every program to be successful. So, we work around the challenges, and it can be challenging. There was, heck, this is the first year since my first year as head coach. This is the first year in 6 years we've actually played a spring game.
Wow.
Because of that. It's like every year we've had so many baseball kids, and so you don't want the pressure of having to cram in real quick, get ready for a game. But we had fewer this year. We only have, I guess, 2 starters that were on the baseball team. Of course, one of them's our quarterback, Colin Raines. He'll be a 3-year starter. He plays baseball. But we just made the decision this year, if Colin's late getting out there, heck, it may help us that our number 2 gets more reps anyway. So we went with it this year and did a full spring. But yeah, that's always a challenge for us. We have found ways around it. I don't believe in making kids pick a sport. They're in high school. Most of them aren't going to go play professional sports anyway. So, we're all about the full high school experience. Do everything you can do while you can.
Speaking of Colin Raines, your quarterback, when we come back, the first question I have for you is, Haughton's like quarterback you. When it goes to guys that sign either D1 baseball as a quarterback at Haughton, or they're going D1, 1AA, D3 football, it seems like every quarterback in the last 15 years has signed somewhere for college football, baseball, or football. What a stat. I mean, it's not just D1. It's about going to college, but I want to ask you that when we come back, because Haughton, y'all have had the most success of putting quarterbacks to at least a small college every year with a starter, or like Peyton Stovall, being a first baseman at Arkansas in baseball.
He could have played college football if he
wanted. He was a heck of I want to ask you about how fast he was. He was a heck of a player. We'll be back. We'll be back with more. Coach Jason Brotherton from Haughton High School, live but taped. We're going to play this on Monday. We'll be right back.
If you need a paint job or repairs to your vehicle, go see MEDINE'S Collision Center, located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on Kincaid Avenue. The number to call is 357-7983. That's 357-7983. Your Baton Rouge Accident Advisors.
Welcome back. You watching the Sports Scouting Report. It's our North Louisiana show we do every week. We either get someone on from Monroe or Shreveport, Bossier City, or West Monroe or Alexandria, or even Bunkie. We've had Bunkie on this year. They do a good job. And then we got Coach Jason Brotherton from Haughton High School on today. But before we go into talking about Haughton High School more, I want to ask, this is unique, and Jace threw this out. Your brother, who I just found out, because I don't live in Bossier City. I don't live in Shreveport. I keep up with football. I go to the games, but that is your brother at Parkway High School, the head coach, Coy. And you're the older brother. So any message to your brother today?
That's baby brother there. No, he's doing a great job. Super proud of him. We took very, very different paths to get where we are. Heck, our dad coached here at Haughton for 33 years. So I got out of college and got hired here and have been here ever since. He took a completely different path. He was at Airline for a few years and worked his way up there. And then he was the head coach at Plain Dealer. Then he went to Captain Shreve and then to Parkway. So, I almost feel like I've had it easy, and he's had to work to get where he is. So just, really proud of what he's done. He's got a great staff there. They're doing a good job. They got us last year. That'll probably be the last time that ever happens. We had beat so many times in a row that we let up a little bit, I think. And so they got us last year.
What is it like seeing your brother on the other side of the, I know you're football zoned in, right? You're all about preparation, but your brother's on the other sideline. What is that emotionally like for you as a brother?
To be honest with you, it's really not much different than any other game. We're colleagues and brother. We're like best friends though. We talk daily. And a lot of our talk is about football. So that week, and the week leading up to that, you probably talk a little less and you're a little more guarded about what you can say. But really and truly after the game, we always make sure we get a picture before the game with, him and myself and our kids or our parents. But, really once the game starts, that really never even crosses your mind until after the game again. So the last 2 years, that's been week 10, and that's made it tough because, you get to week 10, it always like there's more riding on the game than any other game. So I'm really excited this year. Our district schedule we drew, and that's up in week 4. So I think we'll be able to maybe enjoy it a little more than having all the pressure of the week 10 game put on you.
Yeah, worried about playoff seeds and all that week 4. Talk about your dad. I mean, your dad was a coach for many years, like you said, just over 30 years at the school. But what did it mean to you to grow up a coach's son?
Yeah, I mean, it's the reason I'm where I am today. I didn't know I was doing anything different than everybody else, but I pretty much lived at the field house. You're at practice all summer, and that's where I wanted to be. And I loved it. I've chased him around. So, we grew up on the sidelines and in the field house, Coy and myself both. And, now I've got a 9-year-old and I'm watching him do the same thing. And who knows what he's going to be, but if I was a betting man, I feel like he's probably going to be a coach also. So, Dad started that, and, to see, I just always remember watching my dad. He was a head track coach and assistant football coach, but I always watched and could tell he was making a difference for kids, for people. And that was a big deal to me. I mean, obviously you love the sports and you love the competition, but there's not a ton of jobs out there where you can actually impact people and impact kids and heck, to be honest with you, impact a whole community. We're a community school, and I feel like what we do here, and I don't know, I may be overstepping what we're actually doing, how important it is, but I feel like we can affect our whole community. So I saw my dad do that and be a part of it. And it's just what I always wanted to do.
Every time I go to Haughton, I feel welcome. It's just a great, nice community. And, you go through Bossier and then you're hitting Haughton. And if you keep going, you'll be in Minden, and then boom, you're going to be in West Monroe, Ruston at some point. And before we get to Ruston in your spring game, quarterback I mean, I've had some impressive athletes at quarterback. I mean, obviously Dak, but I mean, every year it seems like y'all's quarterback either is a D1 baseball signee or a 1AA baseball signee or a football signee. I've had him go to Northwestern. I've had him go to Louisiana Tech. I mean, Mississippi State. What is it about having that great athlete at quarterback for the school every year?
Part of it's just we've been blessed with good athletes, and good kids. Our quarterbacks coach / offense coordinator, Kyle Wilkerson, does a phenomenal job with them. And I feel like our system puts them in a position to be successful. We put a lot on the quarterback. So, we need that person to run and throw. And so they pile up a lot of stats normally, but the biggest thing is just, it's been good kids that have worked hard, bought into what we do, and just talented. So yeah, it was Dak, and then it was JD Allman. He went to Northwestern. I think after JD Allman, it was Will Haynes. He ended up at SAU. And then we had a little break. Of course, we had Peyton Stovall for 2 years. Peyton would have played somewhere, but obviously, the major league draft and big time D1 baseball was going to be calling his name. So he didn't even play his senior year. And, now we've turned it over to Colin Raines. And to be honest with you, Colin's kind of the same way. I think he could play college football, but my guess is he'll end up playing maybe not University of Arkansas level baseball, but he'll end up, playing D1 baseball somewhere, I'm sure too.
I wouldn't be shocked if it's Northwestern State or something like that. He'd be a starter there. Yeah, a great player. Coach, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to ask you about your spring game coming up. We're going to talk about your team and run through not every kid, but some of your top leaders coming back for this coming season. For Haughton High School, we got Coach Jason Brotherton on, our head coach from Haughton. We'll be right back.
Be sure to take your car and truck for all your tire needs to Treads and Care Tire Company located in Central. The number to call is 331-8144. Family owned and operated since 1971. That's Treads and Care Tire Company.
Welcome back. You're watching the Sports Scouter Report. Glad to have Coach, Jason Brotherton, Haughton High School, head football coach. Another famous alumnus is Billy Wayne Montgomery, ex-tennis coach, basketball coach, principal, and I didn't know this, former House of Representatives for Louisiana. And you said, Coach, they named the basketball court after Billy Wayne Montgomery.
That's right. Funny story too. So I've been around here forever. Coach Montgomery, he still comes to all the basketball games, and he's getting up in age and doesn't get around as well. But during COVID, we had limited, capacity in the gym. We had a new ticket taker out there, and she tried to turn him away. She didn't know who he was. And I said, "Look, that man's name's on the court. We can let him in." Yeah, still around here. Montgomery's still around here. Love seeing him, and he supports all our sports, especially basketball, but all of them.
I'm sure she felt bad there for a minute, like, "Oh no, oh no."
I did.
Yeah. Coach, y'all have a spring game today. Again, the show won't play till Monday, so the spring game will be over with. And it doesn't count, it's not a regular season game, so people know. Tell that to the communities, right? But Ruston is a powerhouse. Haughton's been a great program. And then I saw them play last year. I know their quarterback is back. Great athlete. They got a big O-line every year, humongous O-line. And they got some big D linemen this year. I know you've seen that on film. And I mean, it's a great test, huh, Coach? A great spring game for your team. Your first one in a while.
We haven't played a spring game in 5 years. And so I wanted to play, really one of the best teams in North Louisiana for sure, probably the whole state. So Coach Ball and I talk every now and then, and I just, said, "Hey, why don't we play in the spring?" And so we're going to make that happen. And yeah, it'll be a big test for us. But that's what we wanted, in a game that doesn't count. We're going to be 0-0 when we leave there. We've got to get tougher. We've got to get more physical. We've been in the playoffs, and what I have found out is that we can win a bunch of games. We can do well. We can make the playoffs, but like you get past that first round of the playoffs, you better be able to in 5A play, what I call big boy football. You better be able to line up and compete on the line of scrimmage and run the football and stop the run. And that's where we've struggled. When I guess in 19, we were in the semifinals against Destrehan, and they beat us at the line of scrimmage. We hung in there, but they beat us at the line of scrimmage. And the next year we're in the second round against Ash, and, the same thing happens. So we wanted to play a team that would show us what that's about. They're a perennial, quarterfinal team in 5A or further than that. So that was the whole plan behind it. Hopefully we can go over there and survive and get better. They may score more than us, who knows, but we want to be better when we leave there, when we get there.
And look, that's not a bad drive for Haughton, huh? I mean, going to Ruston, not too bad.
45 minutes down the interstate, so it's not bad at all.
Yeah. I'd be curious to see how it goes, man. It's one of those I wish I could attend, to tell you the truth. But I definitely want to catch a team and come up and watch a game. I've always tried to catch one or watch one on film. You've been really good with me with when the time is right to look at film when the season's over. But Coach, we're going to take a break. When we come back, speaking of your team, I want to talk about some of your guys like Peyton Polk. We talk about Colin Raines. You got a big time linebacker coming back who's a leader, and get your thoughts on the team and your style of play, like your offensive spread and balance offense and run the ball a little bit, and how that is for you as a coach. The balance, it's a fine line when you have a spread offense, but then again, you can sneak a few runs in. Got the right backs, right, Coach? But we'll ask you about your offense and defense mentality as a coach, what you like to. We'll be right back.
Gros Savon Lodge, the true sportsman's paradise. Gros Savon Lodge has fresh and saltwater fishing, alligator hunting, waterfowl hunting, and eco tours located south of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Give them a call at 337-598-2357. That number to call again is 337-598-2357, and have the time of your life.
Welcome back. Really enjoying talking to Jason Brotherton, the head coach of Haughton High School. Been there for, seems like 40 years, man, 24 years. Between him and his dad, it's over 50 years. If you add him and his brother and his dad up, it's probably 60-something years. His brother's at Parkway, the head coach, Coy. We got to get that out there again. I know Coy's going to be watching next week. Coach Brotherton, tell everybody your philosophy on offense. And I know the spread has been really good, but yet people sometimes say spread only, but it's not always spread. You know, there's some running game with Haughton's your offense. And what is your defensive philosophy too?
Yeah, well, offensively, I mean, we're spread, but truth be known, I think last year we ran it more than we threw it. We really have three things that we build our program on that we look at each week. It's running the football and stopping the run. I mean, that's number one. We feel like if we can run for 125 yards, we win. You know, that's kind of how and I forget what the numbers were. Should have brought them out in front of me, but since I've been the head coach, when we run for 125, it's amazing. Our win percentage is like 90%. Second thing we always talk about is turnovers. I know going into last year, I want to say it was like 40 something and 3 when we were +1 or better in turnovers. So we talk turnovers, then we talk about winning third downs. And if we can do those three things, we always, no matter who we're playing, you may not win, but you got a good chance to win. Yeah. So where we are, you know, offensively, it's spread it around. It's a lot of quarterback run game. We put a lot on him. And we've got the guy to do it right now. Great leader and can do a little bit of everything. And Colin Raines. Then defensively, we're a 3-4. In some years, we can play some 4-man front too, depending on who our outside backers are. But for the most part, we're going to be a 3-4 defense.
And you could be multiple and change it up depending on who you play. And that's what people don't ever talk about, because you don't always stay 3-4 if you're playing a different. Yeah, you got to change that game plan up. Coach, I want to just say applaud you, because 220, you had a phenomenal senior defense. And a lot of people don't know this. People in Haughton do. And I think the coaches that play you do. But you lost 10 or all 11 defensive players going into 221. And to make the playoffs, how did you replace almost every starter on defense last year was new? I mean, that's and there were 4 3-year starters you had to replace, a lot of those guys.
Yeah. All our linebackers were 3-year starters. So that was tough. That was really tough. And then heck, in the middle of all that, you know, we had a player die week 2. Our starting nose guard, he passed away. So it was a tough year. It really was. From a lot of new players, very young, harder to win. You know, we didn't win as many games as we normally do. And we want to, and then dealing with that. But, you know, the one thing that carried us through that is we had great kids with really high character. The kids in our program expect to win. They find ways to scrape and battle and, you know, find ways. And like last year, found enough ways to win enough games to sneak into the playoffs. And, you know, then went on the road and almost won a playoff game. So that was, you know, disappointing to not win, but exciting to know that we went and competed as a, you know, not a really high seed.
Well, I'll applaud you and your coaches, because you're not an NFL team. You know, it's not like you have free agents and you go pick up 4 linebackers and stuff. But I mean, to replace your whole defense and make the playoffs, you know, they always say rebuild. I mean, you weren't reloading, but y'all found a way, you know. But to go over your team, I want to start with Peyton Polk, your big old lineman. He's been starting, seems like 10 years.
Big 4 years. Yeah, he started as a freshman in 2019. We played in the semifinals. So he's probably going to set the career record, I guess, for games played at Haughton, unless he gets hurt, because he's never missed a game. He's never been hurt. I should knock on wood, but
he's on it for you too.
Us and you know, provides great leadership and stability on the O-line for sure.
And then you talked about Colin, who's a 6 foot, 200 pound, tough quarterback where he can run a few carries for you and throw it. Dexter Smith, running back, plays a little linebacker for you. What do you think of Dexter?
Dexter's actually, we've kind of transitioned him over to defense full time. He's playing safety right now, and he's the one guy that got hurt in the spring. He's got a cast on his arm. If it was a game in the season, he would play with it. He's not going to play today in the spring game, but yeah, he's moved over to safety. He'll still play some running back, but we had a lot of depth at running back and not much in the secondary. So he was all about doing whatever he could do for the team.
I found this out recently, Coach, but Connor Blank, your linebacker, who had 82 tackles last year, his dad played college sports. So he's got that background. Connor Blank's 82 tackles. Good to have that guy back, huh?
Connor's a heck of a player. He looks like a college player. He's 6'1", 215 pounds, and he can run. He reminds me of those linebackers we had a few years ago that were starters. A lot like Jake St. Andre, who's at ULL now. So Connor's going to have a future playing at the next level somewhere.
Jalen Lewis and Jermarion Montgomery, a couple of really good receivers for you. I know that it's always good to get those receivers back.
Yeah, Jalen led the team last year as a sophomore in receiving, and then he was our starting quarterback in the first round playoff game because Colin got hurt week 10. So he can do a little bit of everything. Just, he's a playmaker for us.
I want to mention your kicker. He's not very big, but man, he can sure kick it. Carter Ebarb, who is, you said he can kick them 50 yards at the right opportunity.
He can kick. He's first team all-district soccer player. He's really a great athlete. Carter last year wanted to play receiver, and to be honest with you, I think he could. He can run. He's super athletic.
You don't want to get him hurt, though.
If you get hurt, we don't have another kicker. So
right.
So we kind of shut that down, and I think Mama didn't want him to play it anyway. But
good, yeah, just kick. Coach, one last kid. Look, if you're a mom or dad, the rest of these are going to be mentioned in our preview magazine. But Tyler Rhodes, I know you'd want to talk about Tyler. He's a tough, big boy, 200 pounds, 6 foot plus, and really tough run for you.
He's the reason we were able to move Dexter to defense. Dexter Smith sprained his ankle last year about week 3, and we moved Tyler from defense to running back at that point. And, he's not a burner, but he's over 200 pounds and he's a load. And because of Tyler, we've transitioned to a lot more zone blocking stuff. He's a great zone scheme running back. He's got great vision. He's patient. So we've kind of changed a little bit of what we do on offense because of him to try to match his skill set. So he's doing a great job for us. Really hard worker.
And if you're a mama listening, and I know how mom and dads can be, we couldn't name the whole 60 plus kids today, but we will have a lot of these guys in our preview magazine. And if you're a mama or daddy, we don't have no stores in Haughton, but you can go to our website, lafootballmagazine.com, to get it. It won't be out now till late August, which will be good. We talked to Coach again before then, before we go to the printer, but we will have it at, on Joella at Sports World, if people want to go from Haughton. Coach, before we end the show, I just thought about a question for you. We talked about, guys that are playing currently. You mentioned one of your kids at UL. We talked about Arkansas with the first baseman. But name some other guys, a couple more that are playing at other schools from Haughton right now that you might want to mention for good alumni sake, and throw it out there. I know y'all got a few guys playing right now.
Yeah, we've got Jake down at ULL. Kaylon Chappell's playing at MEDINE'S. He was a D-end outside backer that graduated in 2019. Of course, we've got Stovall up at Arkansas playing baseball. We've got 2 kids at Southern Arkansas. Gavin Rowe started linebacker for them last year. He was an 18 graduate. Matthew Witten was on that 2019 team also. He's playing wide receiver there. CJ McWilliams is at Louisiana Tech. CJ actually has been medically shut down. He's got a heart condition, so I don't know that he get to play anymore, to be honest with you. But they've kept him on scholarship, so he's still over there. And heck, I may be missing somebody, but those are the ones that pop off my head right now.
Yeah, and CJ was a heck of a quarterback receiver for the program. I got to throw that out there.
And I do want to mention that we've got a kid that graduated last year that is on staff coaching at ETBU as a student assistant, doing a great job, Jeb Spinney. And then we've got another one doing the same thing at Louisiana Tech, Brandon Roten, that played offensive line for us. So we've got guys involved in some things that aren't necessarily playing, but are involved in programs. So proud of those guys too.
Man, shout out to the coaching tree of Haughton High School, man. And look, if you don't know what ET is in South Louisiana, East Texas Baptist, right, Coach?
Yes, East Texas Baptist. Yeah.
Just so people in New Orleans or Lafayette, Baton Rouge would know, it's in Marshall, Texas. Is that right, Marshall?
Correct. Yep.
Not far from Shreveport, not far. Rock Throw, Carthage, and Marshall, and
about an hour away.
Yeah, and then go a little further down, you could go see Longview. And right. Speaking of a powerhouse,
Coach Longview.
King. East Texas, man. Wow. And I always love those battle on the border games, Coach, with East Texas teams and Shreveport teams, Monroe teams. Anybody you want to mention, Coach, non-district, when y'all start y'all schedule, is there a couple of guys that you want to point out that might be different opponents for you on the schedule?
Playing Manny week 3. Can't wait to get down there and play Coach Curtis. We've tried to make that happen for quite a few years now, and finally it's worked out in our schedule and their schedule where it matched up. So we're headed to Manny to play all those D1 players that they've got at their 2A school.
Right.
Excited about that. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be an exciting atmosphere. I know a 5A team going to Manny, I know they're going to be excited. And we've got a kid that played for us that's a D coordinator there, Tyler Hassel. 2000, I want to say Tyler's around 08, 09, graduate of Haughton High School. So excited to be able to go down there and make that happen. I think that's going to be a really fun game for us.
Well, Coach, good luck with your scrimmage today. I know that the main thing is nobody get hurt. Everybody can play for the season. Everybody have a good time. You can learn more about your team, see how you stand up against those guys. And
right.
Before we go, one last time, I want to mention your Twitter page for Haughton High School to help this young man's dad, who's on the team, whose dad got who's really needs help, having surgery every day. Like you said, he's had 7 surgeries already. It's the father of one of your kids on your football team. But mention your Twitter if they want to find more about helping the family.
We've got 2. One specifically for football is just HBucks_football. And then we have our athletics page is HBucks_athletics. So if anybody wants to help, you can direct message me. I run both of those. So if you send a direct message through that, it'll get to me and we can set you up on how you can help them. And we would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, please support that family. It's a tough time for those kids. Pray for them, pray for their families. Coach, thank you for what you do too, man. I mean, you've been really helpful for us. And, like I said, it goes back to Coach Guillen and your dad. And I mean, just Haughton's been a great school for us to help us with what we do, try to promote the kids. And don't go anywhere. I'm going to end the show, but go to our website. If you're watching the show, lafootballmagazine.com. If you're from Haughton or Minden or Bossier City, from that area, all the schools will be in there. All 300 schools will be in the preview, and all 12. We might have 13 colleges. Well, wait, Centenary doesn't have a team yet.
They're getting there.
They're getting there. But we will. Byron Dawson's the head coach, former Evangel Christian. We will have a 13th college next year to promote, and that's Centenary. But we will help Coach Byron. Actually, we're going to try and get Byron on in about a week or 2 to promote Centenary. It's really crazy to say Centenary having football, but it's good. That's more opportunities for kids for the Shreveport, Bossier area, and Monroe and all of the state. But we're going to go ahead and go. Watch us on YouTube or go to where we get your podcast. You can get this show on Podbean, one word. I want to thank again Coach Jason Brotherton from Haughton High School. We'll see you next week. Tommy Moffitt tentatively is our guest, former LSU strength coach and Estruma High School's head coach. And get this, the #1 tight end in the state, Ladarius Jones. Coach will love this, 6'3", 250, and a legit 4.55 40. Chisel. And he's mean. 4-year starter, Ladarius Jones. Specimen will be on with his coach from Estruma, Gladney. Coach Gladney and Coach Tommy Moffitt should be interesting. We'll see you on Wednesday. On Wednesday.
Gage has served Louisiana for over 40 years. Let Gage create a custom tailored solution for your business and become your partner in technology. Give them a call today at 225-753-4243 and help your business get better connected with Gage.
Thanks for listening to the Sports Scouting Report podcast with Lee Brecheen.